podcast. I'm your host, Dave Wolfers. That guy in the middle with the USA shirt on is my son, Sam. And the gentleman over to my right, probably your left, is Charlie Crawley. Today is episode number 93, if you can believe that. And it's entitled The Greatest Sports Ending of All Time. Hopefully the show has a great ending for you. But before we get going here, we always like to talk a little bit about how the week went for our hosts. So, gentlemen, how'd your week go for you?
No, not too bad. Don't really have any complaints. So.
Yeah, it was good. Making a little trip out to Colorado tomorrow, so doing some things. Are you ready for that? And yeah.
So tell the folks why you're going out there. I mean, it's big news, man.
Yeah, just going out.
Not for beer. It's not for beer.
Not for beer this time. I know, but most trips do revolve around that.
Right,
so
right.
But just taking my son who starts at the Air Force Academy on Wednesday. So going out with him tomorrow and spending a couple of days just acclimating and then he starts. We got to drop him off Wednesday morning, fairly bright and early. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. He's got to acclimate a little bit at altitude before they make him run and jump and do all the crazy stuff he's going to have to do. So
first day, baby, get on those hills. Let's go.
That's right. Get up in those mountains.
So what does he have to bring? I mean, he's going to the military academy, the Air Force Academy. So for our listeners out there that haven't been there, does he? I mean, it's not like you're going to college and you're packing everything and you're bringing stuff. So, I mean, it's probably like you're just bringing the toothbrush and bare necessities, right? I mean,
yeah, totally the bare necessities. Yeah. So he can bring a backpack in. He's going to wear boots, and then he can bring in running shoes, and then there's a set list of things that he'll pack in a backpack. That's all he can bring in. So. No clothes. I mean, only thing underwear and t-shirts. Okay. Special certain t-shirts and then underwear. That's all clothing wise he brings in. Everything else is like you said, toothbrush, toothpaste, hygiene stuff, whatever pack it in this backpack, and then he's got to lug that thing around, and then they give him a bigger backpack once he gets there. He's got to practice lugging around with gear in it, and that's it. Everything, furniture, anything you need for a dorm is all given to you.
You get the trunk. So there's the trunk.
The trunk. That's right. The lock trunk.
Yeah. Lock it up, baby. So tell everybody what's he going for? I mean, what's his?
He also
major, but I mean,
right. He does have a major. It'll be aerospace engineering going in for that. He's hoping to be a pilot down the road, which would occur after the 4 years. You have to go to pilot school through the Air Force Academy. And then
so not for like Frontier or anything like that, right? But like a pilot.
I mean, down the road, I guess, a lot of those pilots were, naval or Air Force pilots. So but he's looking forward to jumping out of planes and climbing, going up in the mountains and doing the stuff they do up there, and he's got a you would like to all the PE he's gonna have to take over the next 4 years. I mean, he's got to take a PE class every semester.
Awesome.
Boxing, combat sports, swimming. So you got to do all kinds of.
They're a little more detailed oriented at the Air Force Academy.
They're not doing walking and leisure there.
They're not walking and leisure at Finnington.
That's not an offering.
That's not an offering. If you're going to walk, you're going to be dead. So yeah, one of those two. Yeah. So you gotta hike it, you gotta ruck it up those mountains and get rid of those grizzly bears and stuff.
That's right. So
all right. Well, that is awesome. So
it's gonna be cool.
You take out tomorrow morning early, right?
Early. Yeah.
Our
plane leaves at 5:30, so we got to be at the airport by 4 or whatever. So it's bright and early.
You'll get there about 7:00 Colorado time.
I think it's a little bit later because we have a stop.
Oh, you got to stop.
We got to lay over in Dallas, so I think we get there like 11 Colorado time.
Can we get a direct flight to Colorado?
Oh, we got to fly in the Colorado Springs is limited. There's not a lot. Not a lot goes in and out of that place.
No, that is true. That is true.
And everything was like $200 more than flying into Denver.
Yep, that is true.
So I'm going back out on Labor Day weekend, and I'm flying into Denver. So
you can fly to Denver and then going down and see him. So that's awesome. All right, so that's enough of our lives. I mean, Sam's been out there, Colorado for 2 years, and and I've got my daughter still out there in Colorado. So, which she is coming home Friday, so that's exciting. Sam, you're picking her up right at 1:30 in the morning. No,
I wasn't planning on it.
Oh, you weren't? I thought I was planning on you picking her up at 1:30, since the birthday party is the next day and she can help you. But all right, so I guess Mom and I will have to make that trek down there at 1:00 in the morning. Ooh, I don't know about that. All right, maybe we'll send Benjamin down, the producer. Who knows? But all right, let's get started here. Let's talk about the week that was. Rough week for the Cincinnati sports scene here. We're looking at FC Cincinnati had a good victory, a shootout really, with Philadelphia 4-3. Didn't expect that, I don't think. And then last night, New England, we took a big one, 2-0 or 2-1 loss. But the keys, from that Friday, Pat Noonan came out and said Mazinga is probably going to have knee surgery, and that could be.
it's going to be a while.
It's going to be a while. Yeah, he might come back. He might not this year. And then Haggard went out with a broken fibia. So, our 3 center backs, 2 are injured, probably out for the year. One's with the U.S. national team, which you guys just watched. So let's talk about. What do you want to talk about first? The games, or do you want to talk about the injuries? I'll leave it up to you, the soccer residents.
Yeah, our defense was the strength of the team, especially early on in the season. Our offense has started to score a little bit more goals, but you're not going to win 4-3 games every single time you go out and play. We just saw it on Saturday. They only scored 1 goal, so you're gonna lose. All 3 of their starting center backs are out. All 3 of their center backs are, 3 of their top 6, top 7 players on the entire team. They're extremely important with how Pat Noonan has his team set up. It starts with those 3 guys, especially Miazga and Robinson. So to lose Miazga, just long term. Hagelin probably going to be long term, and then Robinson being out just kind of adds insult to injury with him being on the national team, and MLS doesn't stop for international play. So unfortunately, the better teams are the teams that get affected by that. It's not the San Jose's of the world. It's the FCCs. Miami is affected by it. A lot of the top teams currently right now are going to be the ones affected by it. So, it just kind of shows how MLS is still not taken seriously, on the global stage. Just because, if you're not going to stop for these big international tournaments, you're never going to be able to attract the top players. If you don't have the top players, you can't be a top league. But that's a side tangent. As far as FCC goes, I don't know who their other center backs are going to be. I don't know if they're going to have to change the formation they play, change the way they play to going forward here.
So then my question is, do they look at a trade? Do they look? So
they'll have to bring somebody in just because of the injuries.
So I know the transfer window is starting to open up, and this was the question I was going to ask after Crawley answered, the first question. But Upenza, right, played a little bit. Are they showcasing him to?
I'd imagine so.
Trade him because he's not part of the plan, is he? Moving forward.
I wouldn't think so. No, he played like the last. I think he came in the 85th minute last night. So,
right.
He was not even the first offensive player off. That they brought on. So, yeah.
But they got to showcase him to say that he's healthy enough.
He said he's healthy, right? That he's healthy and can run around out there and do whatever. So yeah, I don't know. They're in a pretty tough spot when you're missing three from the very similar position. So I mean,
sort of like your second baseman, your third baseman, and your first baseman, right? I mean,
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they got a couple backups that I assume in the next game would start, because I assume they wouldn't have anybody in place to be able to start on Saturday. I think is when they play again, right? I think it's
it's
Dallas
Saturday.
on Saturday. Yeah. So I think Kip Keller and what's the other guy? The younger guy actually played it last night too. Ian.
Murphy.
Yeah, Murphy. So Murphy played yesterday. So I assume those would be your two starting, but your backs, your center backs, and then Yedlin's been playing, and they figure out someone else on the other side. So, but yeah, they're gonna have to find somebody, whether it's bringing up an FCC2 player, or they have to go out in the transfer window and bring somebody in. So it's tough, and you could see, these last two games, that their defense has not been nearly as it had been for up until these last two games. So.
Right. So now the question, I know what everybody, all the diehard FC Cincy fans, I was on Twitter early this morning, just looking at the scores and the recap and talk, the injuries, and a lot of people that were, there was blaming the officials, saying they were horrible. And Mark Evans, he was at the game, and, I respect his opinion a lot. And he and I asked him, I said, so were the officials as bad as people are saying? He's like, I've never seen professional soccer officials this bad. He goes, they reminded me of high school soccer officials. He's like, they were just calling stuff in the air. Something had to be called, so they were just, calling things. And I did not watch the game. So, I want to be transparent there. So and everybody knows that I'm not the soccer guru out of the three of us. So I want you guys' opinion. I don't know if you guys watched the game or if you heard anything.
I did not. I saw the,
but at one time, I guess it was 12-2 in fouls.
Against FC Cincy. I did watch the game. Okay. There was a lot of fouls. I think they ended up with 17 or 18 fouls and 4 or 5 yellow cards, and it was all over the place. So there's arguments left and right. A lot of
high school soccer game. Right?
Yeah, Lucho was doing his thing where he's no matter everything was going on, he was running up and getting in the ref's face and giving him the business and stuff. So that happened quite a few times during the game. But yeah, I again, I'm not typically one to blame refs for how you play, and so I don't. That to me isn't the reason they lost. I think defensively they didn't play like they have been playing, and offensively they had chances. They really did. They had plenty of chances to try to put something in. They just couldn't. It was finishing. They just couldn't get the final shot in. Lucho had a number of chances. They were setting things up. He got really. Part of it is that they got really frustrated. Maybe I'm assuming from the refereeing. You could just tell body language. You could just tell their body language. He was very frustrated. Luca, the Oreno guy, he was super frustrated. I don't think he played all as well as he has been. So, it was just body language, and they were more concerned about fouls that are being called or not called and stuff than they were just about playing. So that I think that whole thing all mixed together to have a final outcome of a 2-1 loss.
2-1 loss. Yeah.
To a team that's
too early though, right?
Place. Yeah, New England scored 2 in the first 30 minutes, maybe.
Something like that, yeah. And then, so a little sidebar with New England, right? Sam, do you remember answering the trivia question there when we went to Boston for the Red Sox game during the World Cup 2014?
Yeah, I remember. What was the trivia question?
I don't know but you answered something, and you got a New England.
Oh yeah, I did. I got
scarf.
Yeah, I don't remember what the trivia question.
I don't know if it was like name one person on the U.S. national team or
it was probably something simple.
It was real simple, and they gave it to you, and you answered it, and it's like, hey, you got a scarf. I'm like, awesome. So yeah, all right. So let's talk a little bit about moving forward with FC Cincy. I know they got Dallas at Dallas next week. I know, Sam, you mentioned that there's probably not enough time right now to bring anybody in. But what do they do? I mean, are they looking at the window, bringing somebody in, middle back, center back?
Well, I mean, all the rumors right now are on Weston McKennie.
And who's that?
He's a center midfielder for the U.S. men's national team. Currently plays for Juventus over in Italy.
So when would that time frame be? Because I mean, you got the U.S. national team playing,
right? That's what
which
makes
is why Robinson's out. So
right, so that would be a once the U.S. is over type deal. As far as
after the Olympics, right?
Well, no, just he wouldn't play for the Olympics. He's too old.
He's too old.
Yeah, Olympics is 23 and under.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the men. Well, men only. Not for the women.
Yeah, because the Euros and the Copa go on at the same time as the Olympics, so they don't want guys doing both. So it's younger for the men. So yeah, I mean it could be
as well.
But also, I'm not 100% sure on the validity of those rumors. As far as Weston McKennie goes, it makes zero sense for him to make a move like that. He's 25, coming off the best season he's had playing over in Europe. It would make no sense for him to drop that level.
But if it's like the portal window, we've got the Cincy Light money coming in, so we can.
Yeah. I mean, the money will talk. Juventus isn't going to extend his contract. They've already said that. So I mean, he's definitely going to be on the move from Juventus. Whether or not it comes to FCC, I don't know, and I don't think that should be their priority. Their priority should be opening up that DP spot by getting rid of Bupenza and finding a short-term center back option.
Well, they have to. They want to bring McKennie in. They have to get rid of Bupenza.
Yeah.
Why is that?
For the DP spot.
For the DP,
what's the DP?
So it means
other than Miami, every team only gets a certain number of DPs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Designated players.
They do not count against the salary cap, so you can pay them in theory whatever. So someone like Weston McKennie, he's not going to come over here for $500,000 a year, right? So he'd have to be a DP.
Okay. So. All right. Awesome. Well, I am educated now on a little bit more soccer and how you can.
Well, soccer. I will say, I mean, soccer financials and all that stuff there is way more complicated than any American sport. I mean, it's not.
Well,
I guess some has to the international part of it, but it's just. I mean, you don't just. Players don't just become free agents and then you negotiate with them and say, "Hey, I'll pay you this and bring you in." You got to pay money to the club, and basically buy the ability to negotiate the rights with that play. To get
sort of like
player.
Japan, right? When baseball players come over, you got to buy the rights.
Yeah, it's more similar to that, right?
Yeah. All right. Okay. So, any thoughts on the Dallas game coming up? I mean, I don't know where Dallas is at. I know.
Yeah,
I think, are we still in first, or
we're behind Miami?
We're behind Miami in points, or are we behind Miami in the state? I thought we were
2 points behind Miami.
Okay.
We've been that kind of for a while because, for
we have
much over the last month or whatever, or maybe more than that, 6 weeks. I mean, Miami and FC Cincy haven't really lost, so they just kind of have both. Miami's maintained that 2 point lead on them, but I don't. But they've played more games, so Miami has. So I don't think they played yesterday.
Yeah, for some reason I thought the Inquirer had. I mean, like I said, I read it. I was skimming it, but I thought they said Miami was ahead in either points, but we were ahead in the standings. I mean, I could be totally wrong on that, but
that doesn't make any sense. If you're ahead in points, you're at the top of the standings.
Okay,
they were probably talking about the
games.
FC Cincinnati hadn't played as many matches, so they had.
Okay, so they had a percentage points.
So even though Miami had more points, if FC Cincy once they catch up to Miami in the number of matches played, they have a chance to have more points than Miami at that same
So it's just a little confusing. So like I said, I just skimmed it. So just to get the update on injuries and things like that for the show.
Yeah, I don't know where Dallas is. I know they're not like a top team. I don't believe in the West.
But neither was New England, so that's why.
No. So they were literally last.
Yes. And it was just one of those days. So
Dallas is 11th in the West.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
Not very good.
Let's go into Dallas and kick some butt. Kick those Cowboys. Oh, that's Monday night. Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the Reds. We're moving on. We're going to talk about the Reds now. So 1-2 versus the Pirates. Skeens, real deal. Yes. No.
Answer's yes.
Answer yes. And then Red Sox 1-2. I do have a couple of things I want to talk about the Red Sox series, but thoughts on the Reds' 2-4 week.
Just the inconsistencies again, which has been the whole season. This isn't just a recent thing this year. It's been the whole season. Pitching has been, fairly stable. Lodolo had his probably worst game today that he started this year. Yeah. So
he took him,
and they just don't hit enough to overcome that. So, I think they had 10 hits today, so it wasn't like they weren't generating base runners. It just Red Sox just did more with what they had. And yesterday's loss was again poor base running, a lot of just little league type
and
base running
your boy
mistakes.
Stu again.
And my Stu,
and you lost.
Boy Stu is
his arm is about as good as
mine
if you hooked a ball to a garden hose and whipped the garden hose around.
And his excuse that he's used,
that made it even worse. Honestly,
I was like going, really? I mean, I don't know, Sam, but like when I was in Little League and Crawley, when they taught you your cutoff man is in line with home plate.
Right.
So when he said, "Oh, he's blocking my side, I can't see," it's like, what the heck are you? Yeah, throw it at his head. He'll get out of the damn way. I mean,
or he'll catch it.
Yeah. Yes, well, you're always taught too, as an outfielder, right over the cutoff man's head. That way, if he does need to cut it, it's right. That should be your
That's your
target point, anyways. And
so to say I'm gonna I'll throw it around him and bounce 3 times to home plate.
And, lollipop it. I could have made that throw with my left arm. I mean,
my shoulder's horrible now. I mean, I'm old. I probably could have got it there on 2 bounces. Just like Stu, and oh yeah. And
that wasn't anywhere. That wasn't. Yeah, I know you love Stu.
I like
Stu. That wasn't any worse.
It's starting to go down on the list.
That wasn't any worse than the Fraley play at home. I mean, come on, dude.
Oh, that was like. Yeah,
Let's hesitate and then take off. And when the ball was like 5 feet from the plate.
I was coming home. I was coming back from Batesville. I went down to see my mom and help her pack a little bit, and the cowboy. Well, he hesitated, and if you hesitate and go, you are a sitting duck on a pond. I would have shot the duck, and it's like, what the heck? It's like, what are you doing? And then David Bell today, it's like, well, he was trying to read the catcher, and the catcher hesitated, so he didn't know what to do. No, then you stay at third base.
Right. It's easy. Go back to third.
Rudimentary. If you hesitate, you stay. It wasn't contact play.
Well, David Bell, was frustrated with his team because he got thrown out today because he was frustrated with his team, but he just won't say anything about it. So you almost always know when David Bell is going to get thrown out. It's when the team is playing like horse shit, and he just this is how he vents instead of doing anything else about it. So instead of making the team better.
He's tied with Sparky Anderson for ejections.
For career, they said that on the broadcast today.
Yes. He tied with Sparky Anderson. The only thing that he's tied with Sparky Anderson for. But so here's my question to you. And this is the one thing that I hope. I was at the game Friday night. Packed house. The Fars were there with us. Austin, connection. Got a victory there. It was great. Abbott pitched well. Gave up 2 bombs. The first 5 hits of the game were all home runs. And I was like going, oh, it's heating up in the Natty. The ball's flying out of here. And, Friedel with a little bunt type of thing and scored 2 runs off of that. Boston, and I don't know if you saw this today on the broadcast, but Like Boston is like last in the major leagues and victories in opening game series, but they are the best in the league and
in every other game probably. Yeah.
in the closing game series, right? Which is kind of funny. So they come into town and they don't care about the game one, and then they win game 3, the getaway game or whatever. But so my question is this, and watching Abbott pitch, the Red Sox had 4 left-handers in the lineup. Yesterday against Montas, they had 4 or 5 left-handers in the lineup. Today against Lodolo, they had 4 left-handers in the lineup. My hope is, and I know the Reds aren't built this way, but my hope is that David Bell in the front office actually looked at that game and said, you know what? Their best players, their center fielder and third baseman, Duran and Devers. And we pitched Abbott and Lodolo, and they played. They played the entire game. We didn't play a matchup game against them because our bench guys suck, and we want these guys out there. And if you would have asked me before the Red Sox series how many guys I knew on that team, it was 1, Devers. Now I know 2, right? Their leadoff hitter, Durant. I don't know anybody else on the team. I mean, and O'Neill, 3. So I guess it's 3. O'Neill.
You only know him because he was on the Cardinals.
Right, exactly. But here's the thing. It's like they don't care about righty-lefty matchups, and they don't care about the analytics. And Duran today showed he went 2 for 3 against Lodolo. And it's like, David Bell, are you seeing this? Leave. And he cost us the game. And I will say this, when he took out Candelaria in Pittsburgh for the pinch runner, knowing dang well that in the
that spot was good.
Spot's coming back up, and Herbaces is batting. He's playing bingo out there, 065, and he's going to come up, and they're going to bring in a left-handed because they're going to switch Ellie around to right. They're throwing him. That's what frustrates me the most about this Reds team, is that Bell has to play the matchups all the time, and we don't have. And I am going on the Carly side on this argument. We don't have major league players apparently that can play every day because he has to play the matchups. Well, Will Benson, I'm sorry. He's
awful right now.
He's
been awful really the whole season.
Yeah, he needs to be gone. We're preluding, I think, our emotions here.
But I think when you use the Red Sox as your comparison, that tells you what it is. Our players aren't good enough. They're not good enough.
Yeah.
Fraley's not good enough. Benson's not good enough. Fairchild's not good enough. Anybody that they got to pull out and do the righty lefty thing isn't good.
They're
enough.
Not good enough. Yeah.
Compared to Duran and compared to Devers, compared to these other guys. Those are good, talented players.
Yeah, Devers.
But I'm just saying the guys that the Reds are rolling out there are just not good enough. And they're showing, and we get what we're getting, which is a inconsistent to consistently below average offense, because these guys just they're just flat out not good enough. But we continue to use them, and we're stuck. How do we can't upgrade them right now, because we don't have anybody at AAA. So, and we got the injured guys are every day that another guy's getting further away. CS ain't coming back. McLean's probably not coming back.
That could be a whole episode of why we should get rid of our training staff, medical staff, everybody else. I don't know. It just seems like we,
when you can't play, when you don't play Fraley, but you're playing Stewie, type thing, or you can't play Stewie and you're playing Benson. That tells you neither one of them is all that good. None of them in that equation is that good.
Like right now with this team, I love Stu, right? I've been a Stu proponent since last year. he may not be on my 26-man roster. I mean, that's where I'm at with Stu.
You don't have anybody to replace him though.
But you know what? I don't care. I mean, we played down men before.
Quite a bit.
I mean, we're still playing down men. But Stu, doing the.
We brought up some new guy today.
Yeah.
I don't think he played Soto, right? Isn't his name like Levon Soto or something?
Oh, the catcher. Or whatever.
No. We already got rid of him.
We got rid of him.
That was Friday. 2 days ago.
Yeah, he came up Friday because Herbesy got sent down, and then they said, "Nah, we're not going to do this."
Well, Stevenson, they were worried that Stevenson had an issue, like some physical thing, so he was gone. He couldn't play for.
He got hit with
a couple days.
Pittsburgh,
yeah, a couple days. He didn't. He wasn't available, so they brought the catcher up.
Austin wins, and now and then they lost his, so they had to DFA him.
No one's going to claim him. He'll come. He'll be back on Louisville in a couple days, whatever it is. So I mean, that dude's like not good.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just like, oh my gosh, it's like, it's like we bring up the only thing that did not work last year, we're like, hey, let's try that this year. It's like, oh well, but yeah, I was a little perturbed at that. Our last 11 games, we're 4-11. Okay, so we were 1-2 versus Cleveland, 1-3 versus Milwaukee, which we should have been 2-3. We had a 3-0 lead, and we blow that.
Right.
And then we were 1-3 at Pittsburgh, or 1-2 in Pittsburgh, and 1-2 in today against the Sox, which on Saturday we had a 3-0 lead. Both 3-0 leads were Montos's. Pitched pretty well. You can't lose those games. I mean, you cannot lose those games, especially against, and I don't want to say they were elite teams, but
outside of the Brewers, none of them are better than us, I wouldn't say.
Well, I mean, record-wise, they're all better than us.
Well, yeah.
I mean, the Red Sox are better than us.
Yeah. I mean, but record-wise, Pittsburgh
and us are the same right now, basically. But there was on the riverfront this past week, they had the Pittsburgh reporter guy on it, and they they debated the question over the next 5 years, who gets more playoff victories, the Pirates or the Reds? And of course, they each said their own team.
Right.
That's a good question, because I think they're pretty similar. I mean, they each have young pitching. I mean, for the most part, got some high ceiling guys that are they're starting to live up to their potential. I'm talking about pitching wise,
right?
But inconsistent as can be in hitting, that they don't have guys that you can just count on. The
only guy for Pittsburgh is Reynolds.
Is Brian Reynolds, and he's the veteran. So I mean, the Reds don't even have that. I mean, they don't have a veteran in the middle of the lineup that you can count on every day.
If you want to call him that, but
yeah, I mean, and he has been better this past for a month.
He has been better this month. Yes, but
I would take Brian Reynolds over Candelario.
Yeah.
If you offer me either one of them, I would definitely take Brian Reynolds.
Oh yeah. There's an everyday outfielder right there.
Right.
So yeah, and we don't even have it. I mean, hell, Steer don't even play the outfield anymore. So, or I guess he did today.
He did today.
But he's been playing a lot of first.
Yeah.
And now Espinal's back in the lineup. I've noticed over the
a little bit. He hit Friday night, and it was funny.
Espinal's up to 209. So
the fact you got to use the word up when you said 209, that tells you something. So I mean, the Reds as they are constituted right now are a slightly, if not a little bit more than slightly below average team. That's just what they are. They are what they. I mean, their record is what it should be based on what they're running out there and how they're performing. Friedel hasn't had a good season, largely because of health. But he's batting 208. So even when he's been playing, he hasn't done much. But I'm sure it's left over from his injury stuff. I'm looking at their lineup today. I mean, Candelario until last month wasn't living up to anything. Steer has been better recently, but he's had a bunch of dips that we didn't expect.
Right.
Stevenson's been okay. India's been hitting better over the last couple weeks, but again, he hasn't. Not saying he's a great player this year.
Right.
Benson's been awful. Martini, they still have him on the roster. He's terrible. Yeah. Espinal is terrible, and Fairchild is at best a fifth outfielder. Right. So That's their lineup today, and that's
he's number 26, maybe,
and that
27.
consistently is your team. So I mean, is that team a winning team? What I just named? No way.
And then you got to remember, Luke Malley plays 3-4 games a week.
3 games a week, yeah.
You know, so yeah, I mean.
So and I don't make excuses. Like I could still say the Brewers have as many injuries / defections as the Reds do, and they seem to figure it out. So
the sad thing is the Reds are like 6th or 7th in team ERA, and
their offense is just so atrocious. I mean, it's
horrible.
They're losing games, 3-1
offense, right?
3-2, you know.
That's how the Pirates series was.
Yeah,
both of those games they lost.
Yeah, they scored 3 runs the whole series.
Right. Hunter Green in Pittsburgh has played. He's had 4 games in Pittsburgh. I think he's given up 2 or 3 runs, or 4 runs in 4 games in Pittsburgh, and he's 0-4, and the Reds have scored a total of 1 run in the games that he started in Pittsburgh in his career.
And Pittsburgh's not like some pitcher-friendly park. I mean, it's not Great American, but it's hitter-friendly.
Let me pull up this here real quick.
I can't remember who it was. It might even been you, Dad. But when the Reds play the Pirates, they just need to sign Derek Dietrich. Just find out what he's doing, and only when they play the Pirates.
Yes.
It'd be better than Martini.
God, yeah, Dietrich, yeah. Only if what's his name, Chris Archer's pitching for the Pirates.
Yeah.
But let me. I've got this stat here. Let me see if it's in my photos.
Once you have that, I have a question for you guys. I want to throw out.
Go ahead and ask the question.
So, Tinkerbell, how David Bell utilizes his lineup is very little leaguish, I think, where everybody gets an at bat, everybody's playing out in the field, and then every game we're seeing these little league mistakes. Do you think there's any correlation between the two, or is it just some of these guys are just dumb and they just can't figure it out?
I don't think it's that. I think it's there's probably a correlation. There's a reason why guys are number 26, 25, 24, 23 on the roster.
Yeah, but I mean, everybody's making base running.
But the problem is they should not be playing all the time, right? And they should only be going up there to either pinch hit, back before the designated hitter. Those guys would be your pinch hitters for your pitcher.
Yeah.
Right. And then they would be defensive specialists. They would come in, Stu would come in
Billy
and play
Hamilton.
the outfield, for Fraley or for Steer or whatever in the 9th inning, that type of thing. But because there is a DH and because Tinkerbell likes to, do the platoon system and the matchup system, then now you're getting, those guys starting the games, or they're coming in the 4th inning or 5th inning, and then they're playing, and then it's costing them because they're not used to the game. And even though we've all played and we know this is little league stuff, if you're not out there playing on a daily basis, and this sounds bad, but you forget, you don't react as quick. You are like, oh, 2 outs. Oh, I got to do that. It's that split second, even though you're major league players in that it happens. At the college ranks, it happens. I was a college coach. I saw it every day. It's like, what do you mean you don't know what to do with the ball? There's a runner on first, 1 out. I don't, like, are you freaking kidding me? How long have you been playing? And that's what happens. And that's just my take on it.
Yeah, I agree with what you said there. I would just say one. Again, this is almost me defending David Bell, which doesn't happen very much. But
wait a minute. Let's record this here. Okay.
Yeah, it might be the first time. But the platoon guys just aren't good enough not to platoon them.
Right.
I mean, are you going to run Will Benson out there against righties and lefties? I don't want him running out there against righties right now, let alone righties and lefties. I think he's 0 for his last 23 or something. Fraley can't hit. Stewie can't. He's like 0-80 against right-handers.
Yeah, he's horrible against right-handers.
Which makes no sense to me. You're 26 years old or whatever Fairchild is. You've grown up your whole life playing baseball.
He's 14.
How many right-handers have you faced versus left-handers in your life? Probably 10-1 right-handers versus left-handers. So how the hell can you not hit a right-hander?
Right. That's it to the major league.
Yeah.
You don't make it to the major leagues by just hitting left-handers.
Correct. Yeah. You didn't do that until the major leagues. You didn't do that. You didn't do it in a little league. You didn't do it in high school. So I don't get how you can't hit a right-hander.
So
that makes no sense to me.
Is it the Oedipus prophecy that they're saying you can't hit right-handers? So when you get an opportunity to hit right-handers, you don't? Or Will Benson, hey, you can't hit left-handers, so
the lefty one always makes more sense to me because it's more rare to face a left-handed pitcher. So that one, that one always
tell that
makes
to Tony
sense.
Gwynn.
But okay, that's a Hall of Famer.
So to me, it still boils down to the Reds aren't good enough. I mean, they just aren't. The players are running out there are just not good enough to be a winning team or be consistent. So, and some of that may be injury, but some of that is also just the players they have. And they're just not, they're a lot of, they don't have even a legitimate starting outfielder right now. Not one. Because Friedel's not right now.
No.
Obviously Benson and Fraley, Fraley, we talk about his batting average, but he has 9 RBIs. That's it. This entire season. You can't not driving the ball at all.
But this is the Reds are 11-8. This was 9 hours ago. 11-8 in June with the third best team ERA this month. They are third. The Reds have scored 85 runs compared to allowing 65 in June. And we're 11-8, and we went 4-11.
That included 3 of those 3 Rockies games, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. But
how many? Didn't they score like 23 runs in that 3-game
something
series?
like that? But yeah,
take out the Rockies games, and I bet they're a lot closer to 50-50.
But just like what Denny Green said, we are what our schedule says we are, right? That's you can only play the people in front of you. So
right, and that's why they're 5 games under 500.
And they're 5 games under 500 right now. Yeah,
that's who they are.
Yeah. So let me find that. That wasn't the one, but
we get the Pirates again, and we'll see what we do.
Yeah.
The Pirates.
But at least we don't get Skeens, so that's a good thing, I guess. So, all right, as I'm looking for this here, Marte is due up the 27th. He's batting like 145 in Louisville. So the question is,
fit right in.
Are you bringing him up,
right.
Or do you let him try to get an extended spring training?
I bring him up because what's the point? Espinal is not in the long-term plan. So you put Marte in there and let him go at it. That way Espinal is back to the bench role.
Well, that and Candelaria doesn't play third base and commits an error once a week.
He can play first or DH.
Right. So
which is what the original plan was anyway.
Exactly. I thought I had a screenshot of it, but I guess I don't. So it's just the record since 2021. The Reds only have one winning record against the National League Central, and that's against the Cubs. Think about that. Obviously the Brewers just own they wipe our butts with it.
Right. Brewers, the Pirates,
Cardinals, but the Pirates is a surprise.
That's a
but
surprise.
They are they're like 8 games better than us.
Oh yeah, no, I heard that too. Yeah,
it's crazy, and then we're better than the Cubs, and it's like, are you? I just don't understand it.
You know how bad the Cardinals were at the start of this year, and now they're 2 games over 500.
They're in second place. Yeah, second place of the division.
And St. Louis was about to decapitate Ollie Marmol. I mean, they were fed up with him, talking about firing him. And here we are, still stuck with David Bell. And there's plenty of Reds fans out there that are holding his hand and don't want to let him go.
Well, and it's, and it's like what, Charlie said. You look around, who you bringing up? I mean, because they brought up people, right, that people were clamoring for. Bring up Mike Ford. Bring up Mike Ford. Where's Mike Ford at now? He's on a boat fishing somewhere because nobody wants him. I was opposed to that. You can go back 6 episodes. When they brought him up, I said, why are we bringing him up? He's Nick Martini. Martini has more major league experience. I mean, just keep Martini. At least he can play the outfield.
Poorly,
but at least he can play the outfield, right?
He doesn't, though.
No, he doesn't. But he doesn't play now because he got hit in the hand. And once again, Blake Dunn. Ooh, bring up Blake Dunn. What does Blake Dunn do? Gets hit in the head. Gets sent down. Gets hit in the head again. And he's on the IL now. So,
that's not his fault.
Yeah, I know it's not. But he was batting. He was playing bingo again.
He was batting 160 or whatever.
160, or I-60 bingo. I mean,
but that part's not David. That part's not David Bell's fault. That's Nick Krall and the organization's fault.
Exactly, and that's why I'm hoping the front office took a good look at the Red Sox and how they built their team to say we need everyday players in the damn lineup. We're not playing this platoon system anymore. But that's not,
the platoon system's cheaper. So there's the answer to your question.
And my biggest fear is, and I was listening to Locked On Reds today when I was out jogging, and they were doing, this was a Friday episode, mailbag, and they were doing the trade. Like, oh, hey, let's talk about trades. Like, who would you trade for right now? And then who would you stay away from? And it was interesting because they both said, even though the Reds are in last place and they're 3 games out, they need to be buyers at the they need to.
They weren't buyers last year, and we were in first place.
Right, I know. But
so why are we going to be? Why would we be buyers when we're in last place?
I don't know that, but they said that we need to be buyers.
We're more likely to be sellers. Montas gone. Martinez could be gone.
Yeah.
Pagan.
Nobody will want him. Not with that. Not even with injury and contract.
What about Lucas Sims?
So we'll talk. That'll be a an episode next week. I mean, we'll talk a little bit.
I mean, I'd love them to be buyers, but you think about it. We were in first place last year, and we didn't buy. We bought a left-handed middle reliever. That's it.
Yeah.
So.
And
the cheap player.
And the one thing they talked about was like Lewis Robert, right? The center fielder.
Oh, the White Sox guy, right?
The White Sox guy. But you gotta go talk to Getty, who last year's the Reds talked to get Dylan Cease. And they wanted 4 top 10 prospects.
Well, they didn't take 4 top 10 prospects from the Padres to get Dylan Cease this year.
That's
what Krall said. I don't believe him. I don't believe Nick Krall. I don't believe David Bell. David Bell blatantly lies when he talks about players and their injuries and those things. So he flat out lies too when he talks. And so you can't tell me. I don't believe that Krall what he says when he because Krall's famous line is, "Oh, we were looking, we were out there, seeing what's out there, what the deals were. We were close to making, Sonny Gray, remember Sonny Gray? We were there. We thought we had him, or whatever. Well, that's based on what you're saying. Right. You and the Cardinals were the only ones that offered money, probably, and you offered $1 million for 5 years or whatever. The Cardinals offered $60 million. So you were second place for that.
You have Johnson as your pitching coach again. Right.
So anyway, I don't ever want to hear us quote Krall or Bell and say that is actual. That's truth.
I don't know. They didn't say Krall. They didn't say Bell. They just said this is what they were asking. That could have been Jeff Passan, could have been Buster Olney. Who knows? Well,
I just look at the evidence and say, what did the Padres have to give up to get Dylan Cease? It was not. It wasn't 4 top 10 prospects.
No, it was not. But so you
could have traded for him this year.
We could have, but he hasn't done very well.
You could have traded for Arise. You could have traded for
Arise. Yes,
Arise. Whoever.
No, they don't.
We have the prospects. We could trade for almost anybody. There's probably There's probably 10 players in the entire.
We probably could.
Yeah, but right. There's probably 10 players in the entire major leagues we could not trade for. We couldn't get Aaron Judge.
Or Soto.
Yeah.
But other than that, with our prospects, we could probably get about anybody else we wanted.
Yeah. I mean, we'd have to package a lot, but
correct.
But I would package a deal for Mike Trout to come play left field for us.
Now I would too. Yeah.
If the White Sox ate some of his money, I'd package 4 prospects for him. I'd package 5 if they didn't want to, but they would have to be, I'd give them 2 really good prospects if they weren't going to eat any money, and then 3 that would be developmental. But if they're going to eat money, I'd package 4. But he ain't coming.
Yeah, it will be interesting as we get close to the deadline. Because
we'll
that pressure is going to be built. That is going to be built at an all-time high.
But you know what they're going to say? Our trade deadline is going to be Matt McClain coming back. It's going to be Novell.
That was last year because it was Hunter Green and
Lodolo, and look what happened.
And neither one worked a damn, did anything to help the Reds.
Exactly. But they did pick up
You're right.
Sam
That is what it is.
So, and that's what's going to happen. It's like,
it's going to be the same thing. Yeah.
We got CES he might come back, but then again, he might not. And CES,
trade him.
I think CES is. I don't know if he'll be here long term because if you're doubting your medical staff after year 1, not even.
Can you blame him though?
I can't. I can't. But if you're like going, no, I'm going to go get a second opinion and a third opinion because I don't trust you guys. And you're only been in the big leagues for 6 months. Yeah, I think that's a red flag. I don't think he's going to. First opportunity he gets, he's gone. All right. We got to move on. But we do have to go with the hitter of the week, pitcher of the week, and the person who we need demoted. All right. Where do you want to start? Pitcher or hitter?
Whatever.
Let's go pitcher of the week. Sam, who do you got?
I'll go on. Yeah. No, Sam, you go.
I was, with Hunter Green. I think his start on Friday, right? He started Friday.
No, he didn't start Friday.
He started Friday.
Abbott.
Abbott.
That was Abbott. Oh,
yeah. Green started in Pittsburgh.
Whoever started Friday, I can't even remember.
Abbott started Friday.
Well, Green had a very good start. He's the one. He went like 7 innings and they lost because they couldn't hit.
Right.
Like, didn't he start against Skeens?
Yeah.
No, he didn't start against Skeens.
Yeah.
He pitched.
Did he pitch game 3?
He pitched game 3. Yeah.
Game 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'll stick with Hunter Green then. I got my guys crossed. Oh well.
I'm going to go with
about as good as David Bell. So.
I wanted to go with Lodolo because he got the victory in Pittsburgh, but then he just laid an egg today. I'm going to go with the reliever, Sam Moll. I mean, the guy who we went with last week or 2 weeks ago. I think he's probably been the most consistent. I mean, Diaz is starting to turn it around a little bit. I mean, he only has 2 blown saves. But
yeah, he's got 10 in a row, they said.
He does, and he's been looking better.
His velocity is back up.
Yeah, Friday night he looked really good. But I think Sam Moll's been our most consistent pitcher. So that's who I'm going with again.
I'm going to go with Fernando Cruz. They make that guy come in with guys on base every single time that he comes in, and he does a pretty good job with that. So
he does.
He's become, I think, the setup man. I mean, really, the number 1 setup guy, for at least right-handed. Maul's probably the left-handed guy.
Yeah.
It looks like they've demoted Lucas Sims, thank God. But yeah, I mean, Cruz is the guy that he has to be the team leader in how many guys have been on base when they brought him in.
Inherited runners, yeah.
And inherited runners, and he, for the most part, more often than not, gets out of it. So,
yep.
So I don't know if he was great this week, but I'm gonna get kind of a
good. He came
season-long award for this.
He came in the 5th or the top of the 6th. I mean, Abbott went 5 1/3 on Friday, and Cruz came in and shut down the door. He pitched 2 batters, and that was it, right? And I'm like going, all right. So, but yeah. All right, let's go with hitter of the week. might be unanimous here again.
I don't know.
I'm
Bet you
thinking
go with who I went with.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking.
Yeah, Ellie hit really well this weekend, but Candelaria has just been. I mean, India's been pretty good. But I mean, Candyman 2 home runs Friday night again. Another hit.
RBI again today.
Yeah, another hit today. I mean, I think Candyman is my guy as well.
I went with India. I haven't given him too many props this year, and he has been hitting quite a bit better over the last, 2-3 weeks or so. He had a couple hits today, so I gave it to India.
Yep, that's good because I gave it to him last week, saying that when you were out, I said probably stirring in his grave right now because I like going in Jonathan India. So, all right, who is the player that needs to be demoted? I mean, granted, they demoted 2 in the last 3 days, so
one guy who didn't even play.
Right, right.
I'm going to stick with David Belfash, and I'm going to demote a platoon of Will Benson and Stuart Fairchild.
Oh, nice. So who you bringing up, man?
Whoever wants to, whoever gets on the bus first from Louisville can come play for me. Come play right field on Monday.
Crawley, who you got?
I had Benson down. I mean, Benson's
down.
0 for 23 or whatever, and he hasn't been good in the entire season.
Yeah.
But his, I've said before, him and Fraley are the same player. I don't know. Fraley's been, his average is good, but he has 1 home run and 9 RBIs the whole season. So, would you rather have Fraley, who's batting whatever he is, 280, or he's been around,
50 something now.
Oh, he's dropped that far down because he was up near 300 just not too long ago.
But
he didn't play today.
He's at 278.
278.
So would you rather have that but 0 production, or would you rather have Will Benson, who's batting like 185 and he has like 8 home runs, whatever? So I think the answer is you don't want either one.
Strikeouts, right?
I think the answer is you don't want either one. I think neither one's good enough right now, or good enough. So, but I'm going to go with Benson. I mean, come on. I mean, he's been in the 190s, 180s most of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I've been last 2 weeks. I've been hammering Lucas Sims needs to go down, but I think Will Benson needs to ride the buses again, and maybe he can hop on a plane with Joey Votto, and Votto can talk a little sense into him, and then he can turn it around like he did last year. But yeah, I mean, there's a reason why Cleveland gave up on him, right? I mean, number 1 draft pick for him, and they gave up on him. And there's a reason.
Cleveland does that a lot, though. They have a weird philosophy I'm starting to notice, like where if guys aren't in the big leagues by a certain age, they get them out of there.
But they've been pretty successful.
Well, yeah,
right?
no, I'm not saying it doesn't work. Yeah, but yeah, that's kind of their formula, I guess.
Right. All right, so we gotta move on here. So next week we'll, the Reds have Pittsburgh, and then they're on the road, I think. Can't remember who they go after Pittsburgh, but real quick, I'll check. They're in St. Louis, and then the Yankees. So good luck. We got to take some games against Pittsburgh. All right. So last week, did I have the trivia? Or did you have the trivia, son?
You had the trivia.
You remember what it was?
I don't. No.
I don't. I can't remember what it was.
It had something to do with father. It was father and son, most home runs or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what it was. It was the top 5. Yeah, it was.
Well, but
yeah, that's what it was.
Were you on last week? I didn't think you were on last week.
I was on last week.
Okay.
Yeah. It was the week before I wasn't on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the top 5 home, and you guys all got it right.
Yeah,
you got it right. So that's right. That's what it was. Top 5 home runs. Father-son duo, Bonds, Griffey, Fielders, Guerreros, and
I'll lose.
Yeah. All right. So Crowley has this week's trivia question.
So I don't know if this is a positive or a negative question related to the Reds. It just depends on how you look at it. But I got the past winners, the most recent winners of various
Awards?
baseball end of season awards. So I've got 5 of them, but I'm only going to give you a few of them here and maybe save the other ones for the next time, whatever. Right. So. But so the question is, I'm going to give you the category end of season award, MLB, and you have to tell me the most recent Reds winner and who was it.
Jonathan India, Rookie of the Year.
Okay,
all right,
that's one of the 5.
All right, that's what I thought.
If you're so smart, tell me the Gold Glove winner, most recent one.
Barnhart.
Yeah, Tucker.
What year?
17, 18?
18, I believe.
20.
Oh,
yeah.
But it was Barnhart.
It was Barnhart. Yep. All
okay.
Right.
Manager of the year.
Probably Piniella.
I'm thinking maybe Dusty.
Oh, yeah, Dusty. That was a good one. But
maybe Dusty in 2012.
12?
So I would go 20. Or we do a 10 or 12? I'd probably go 12.
It doesn't matter which year you go. He didn't win.
No, yeah. So Piniella, 90.
Nope.
John McNamara. No, it was Davey Johnson.
Nope.
No, Phil. Who's the other guy? Not Jack McKeon.
Jack McKeon.
In 99, right?
That is Jack McKeon. Yeah, 99.
99.
When they had their little almost playoff year.
Yes.
Okay. Cy Young.
Bauer.
Yeah, Bauer.
20.
Yeah, he's the only one. He's the only
one. Yeah.
Ever for the Reds.
Yep.
And then MVP.
Votto.
What year was that? 11?
10.
10? It would have been 10. Yeah.
Yeah, 10. Good job. You guys did it.
Woo! We don't mess around. Hey. All right. Good one. So Sam will bring the question next week, and we'll review our answers from last week. All right. So our topic of the week is we're talking best endings in sports history. So what we are doing for this, we've got baseball, basketball, football, and a wild card thing. So we'll just throw out a few that we had ranked high. And then, so we'll start with one category, and then we'll all give 1 or 2, and we'll rank them 1, 2, 3. Okay. In that order. And then we'll move on to the next category and so forth. So, and then we'll come back and revisit some of them that we didn't have on there. So, which category, Crawley, what do you want to start with? Do you want to start with baseball, football, basketball, or a wild card?
We'll start with football, which is where I had the most by far.
Yeah, I had the most by far.
Of the best endings.
Yeah.
And I actually had the most. I had college football. I had more college than I had NFL as well. So if we go to college, was tough because there was some.
There's some really good ones in college. Yeah. So give me your
and
top, or give me one college one.
Just one college one?
Yeah, just give, and then we'll go. And Sam, you probably had a college one, and then I have a college one. So we'll see.
Well, I gave extra credit for any ending that was like unusual too. Not just like a buzzer, not just like a buzzer beater, but like something out of the ordinary of it. So I don't think you can get more out of the ordinary than Cal Stanford and the band.
Yeah,
the band is on the field. So to me, that has to be rival the top ending of any sport in any game. So
Cal.
I mean, the band is on the field.
The band is on the field.
Yeah.
And the fact they finish it by crushing that tuba player.
Nothing better than that.
Even better. So.
Yes, exactly. Sorry, tuba. It's like, yes. All right. So I did have that one as well. Sam, give me one. Give me another one.
Yeah. As much as it pains me to say that kick 6.
Yeah.
Auburn, Alabama.
Yeah. That's Yeah, I mean that's
And I had that on there too because it's
Yeah.
something unusual about it too.
Yep. All right. So then, and then I had Flutie, right? BC over Miami in the Orange Bowl. I mean, that's you don't go into Miami and beat Miami back in the '80s, like and the Hail Mary. So yeah. So any more we want to put on the college list?
I put the Texas USC
Rose
Rose
Bowl
Bowl
game.
was at
Yeah, Vince
05.
Young. Yeah.
Vince Young, yeah. Put that up there.
06, yeah.
06.
And I had that on there as well, just
Yeah.
as a really, really good game. So.
That was
Yeah.
yeah, and it was the last play, right? So
Well, Vince Young scored
right.
with 20 seconds left.
Yeah.
and they
Yeah,
ended.
something like
It's
that.
basically the last play, yeah.
And then did you have any others, Carly?
I had, and this is out of respect for my boy Donovan Clark, I had Michigan State over Michigan on the muff punt.
The muff punt.
Again, something unusual. You don't see that. I mean, literally, I watched it again today, and the punter it just falls out of his hands basically, and the Michigan State guy grabs it. And not only that, the Michigan State guy in the celebration breaks his hip.
Right.
Because all the guys piled on top of him. He only played a little bit after that, like the rest of his career. So,
well,
I went with that one
and
too.
the only other one I had on my list that you guys didn't say, it was Cordell Stewart, another Michigan.
Yeah.
Cordell Stewart's bomb over Michigan. So, Colorado.
No, the pile on Michigan. You know, App State with the block kick at the Big House.
Yeah, that's true. So it's a Michigan bash.
It's a pile on. Yep.
All right. So let's rank the college ones. Any other college ones that you want to put on the list?
That's good.
All
right. So let's rank those. Give me what's Cal Stanford number one?
Yeah, that's number one. That was the first one I thought of.
Yeah, that's the first one I thought of as well. Yeah. What's number two? I gotta let the dog out, so hold on a second.
Number two, no. So we had Texas, USC.
I think if you're just dealing with just the ending, if you're not like the Texas USC game might have been the best game.
Yeah.
But in terms of you're just talking about the ending and something weird about it, I would say the Auburn Alabama.
Yeah, kick six.
So kick 6-2?
Yeah.
Or do you want to go? Yeah.
No, because we were talking because if you're taking strictly the ending, that ending last play of the game is something that you'd never seen it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that is true.
Right.
I mean,
that's why I put it over the Hail Mary play because there's been other games that ended on Hail Marys. I mean, Aaron Rodgers had one. I mean, there's different ones.
Yeah. All right. So then, what's the third one? Do you want to go with the Hail Mary?
It probably would be I would say the Doug Flutie Hail Mary is the most famous one.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that got him the Heisman Trophy for crying out loud, right? I mean,
yeah.
All right. So that's the third one there. All right. So there we go. All right. So you got any NFL ones?
I do, but none of them are as good as the college list to me. I'd put all the college ones over the NFL ones.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, I had the catch. I mean,
well, I was going to say that
there's all kinds of games ended. I mean, you could say it. I mean, John Taylor catching against the Bengals in the Super Bowl. I mean, there's been a lot of. My point is, there's been tons of games that ended in a game-ending catch.
Yeah, I had that one. Well, and you have the Music City Miracle, right?
I had that one,
but
that was different.
Yeah, it was a forward pass. That's what made it different.
Well,
so
they didn't call it though.
They didn't call it back then. That's right. But
I had the Malcolm Butler interception on the goal line.
On the goal line, yeah.
Again, it ended the Super Bowl. How many has there been any other ever Super Bowl ending on an interception? I don't think so.
Not on an interception, no.
Right.
On a
that stood out to me.
I hate to say the Pittsburgh Steelers beating the Cardinals. That was a.
But that was on a catch, right?
It was on a catch.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the original Hail Mary, Minnesota versus Dallas, when Staubach threw a 50-yard bomb at the end of the divisional round to get into the 75 Super Bowl. And that's where the term Hail Mary came from, because they asked him, what were you thinking about? He goes, when the ball was in the air, I said a Hail Mary, and good Purcell Marian boy, Catholic boy. And that's where the term Hail Mary came from. So I've got to put that on the list, because without that, there's no Hail Mary, right? I mean, that's not the term. It's something different.
And then the only one I had was the drive, the Broncos drive against the Browns. And partly because I just want to rub it in the Browns. So
sounds good. All right. Any of those make the top 3?
Not over the college.
Not over college.
No,
all right. So if you think differently out there in podcast land, let us know, please, at CSS Sports, either on Instagram or Facebook or on Twitter here, or if you're watching us, YouTube. All right. Where do you want to go next, Sam?
Let's go to basketball.
All right. So let's go basketball. All right. So give me one.
Yeah. First one that came to my mind was Game 7, 2016 Finals, Cavs Warriors. It's that last 2-minute stretch.
That didn't even make my top 3. All right. Crowley, what do you got?
For NBA, I have Reggie Miller scoring eight points in 9 seconds.
Yeah, I had a couple NBAs, but I went mostly.
I had more college, but since Sam said NBA, I went with my main. That was my top NBA one.
Which one was that?
Points. Reggie Miller, 8 points in 9 seconds to beat the Knicks.
Yep. All right. And then I guess I will go, if we're going NBA, so probably Jordan over Elo hitting the game-winning shot. That's the one that set them on the path.
Yeah, you could do Jordan over Elo. You could do Jordan over Russell. You could do Jordan over. Well, the other ones were him passing to Kerr, and
right.
There was a whole bull stretch there of.
Right. Yeah, but the thing about the one over Russell.
We'll go to college.
The thing over Russell is like he didn't have to switch hands. He just did that on purpose. So.
Still made it.
That's
all that matters.
That's all
in the history books.
Yep. All right, let's go college then. Give me
one. Go with the one that I like more. I like the which Drew was it that hit the shot for Valpo?
Bryce Drew.
Bryce, yeah.
No,
yeah,
Bryce Drew.
Yeah.
Bryce Drew. Valpo versus.
Just because I like that play better. Throw it into the catcher and then hit the streaker for 3.
You
know who it was against?
Auburn, wasn't it?
Ole Miss.
SEC football school, whatever.
Yeah, Ole Miss.
Same thing.
Crawley, what do you got?
I went just because it literally ends the national championship game. I went with NC State with the dunk.
Oh yeah,
Lorenzo Charles
to beat Houston, and not just Houston, but I mean like
Phi Slamma Jamma.
Phi Slamma Jamma with 2 Hall of Famers, and and NC State, the little engine that could. Valvano running all over the place looking for somebody to hug, and so that's the one I went just because of where it happened, and again something unusual.
Right. That was my number one as well, because in leading up to the game, everybody was talking about it, and Valvano said whoever has the most dunks in the game is going to win the game, right? And NC State had 1 dunk, Houston had 0, so he was right on that. So another one that we didn't talk about, and I know Crowley probably wasn't going to spew this out of his mouth, but Christian Laettner, Kentucky Duke. I mean, I
don't like UK. I was fine with that.
Oh, you were fine. You didn't like Duke either, I didn't think, but
I like UK less.
So that's what I'm saying. It probably wasn't coming out of your
mouth. No, I actually was rooting for Duke in that game.
Yeah. So Christian Laettner's last second shot versus Kentucky.
That would be your famous. I mean, that's probably the most famous one of them.
Yeah.
That or NC State. I think the NC State might be a little more famous just because it won the national championship.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think because you're dealing with Duke and Kentucky, I think that puts it the most famous.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blue Bloods. And then anybody has another one?
I had the Chris Webber timeout.
Oh, okay. That's
that's a good one.
And then I had the Key Smart game-winning shot in the Final Four, or the game against Syracuse in '87.
Yeah, I've got Yancey Gates knocking out Kenny Freeze.
That was after the game, wasn't it?
It ended the game. Yeah,
it sure did. That's right. All right, let's rank them. Out of those 6 that we've got, college and pros, what's number 1?
I think it's either the Leitner beating Kentucky or the NC State over Houston.
Yeah, I'd lean NC State just because it was a championship game.
It was a championship game. Yeah. That's what I'm going with too. So let's go ahead and put that at number 1. So that means Duke, Kentucky, Leitner's number 2.
Number 2, yeah.
And then what do you want for number 3? We got Cavs Warriors, Reggie Miller, Jordan over Elo, or Jordan over whoever, and Valpo.
Fill in the blank.
Yeah, and Valpo versus, and then you also have Jordan versus Georgetown.
Georgetown, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So I mean, we could just put Jordan as number 3.
You just put Jordan, yeah.
As number 3, sure.
All right, so
Jordan versus fill in the blank.
Versus fill in the blank as number 3. So there's many games there. So, all right, so it's my turn. So we will go baseball next. And I think my number 1, let me pull this up here. Probably for me, the most memorable one. It might not be the greatest, but it put a dent in the armor of the A's. Kirk Gibson, game 1, 88, home run, torn hamstring, right? Can't even get out, or knee. Can't even go around the bases. Can't play. In one swing, he was still in talks for MVP of the World Series because Dennis Eckersley blows the set. I mean, it's just like greatest reliever of that time. So that's my number. I mean, for me, that's my number 1.
Yeah.
I've got Joe Carter walking off to win the World Series for the Blue Jays.
Yep, that's a good one too. I got that. Crawl Dog.
And this is the one hometown bias one I put on there. Joe Oliver knocking in Billy Bates in the 90 World Series.
I totally forgot about Joe.
The fact you can put Billy Bates in any kind of famous sports thing, So that was my one. I was trying to think of the best Cincinnati one, and for me, that's probably my favorite Cincinnati one.
That is.
Not a lot of championships, so to win the championship, there was not a lot of options.
And Knoxall going nuts.
Right.
Right. That was a very good one. To win the game. I like that one. All right. Another one I had, it was against the Reds, but I had Fisk 12th inning home run. I mean, that sort of brought baseball in the World Series on TV. I mean, that's just so.
I had, again, this was where it wasn't just a moment. It was actually the whole thing, but I had the Red Sox coming back from 0-3 beating the Yankees.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And that was Aaron Boone, right? No, that was the Red Sox beating the Yankees. Yeah.
This is
Boone was the year before.
Yeah. So, all right. So
I mean, that would be a good finish off of Wakefield. Walk-off home run.
Well, I have that.
Get to the World Series or whatever.
Well, I feel like all those Yankees in that time period, whether they won or lost, there was always something at the end of the something because they lost when they lost to the Diamondbacks. You had Luis Gonzalez returning the favor against the Yankees off of
Rivera,
and the Red Sox had to torch Rivera a couple times in that 04 series to come back.
Yeah. So I had, a lot of Yankees, Red Sox, right? You had Aaron Boone, and then I had Bucky effing Dent, hitting that home run over the Green Monster to send the Yankees in the 77 World Series.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Bill Buckner's heir.
Yep, I have that one on my list too. Bill Buckner.
Another Red Sox one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Poor Red Sox. Dave Henderson. He hit the home run in '86 against Donnie Moore for the Angels to get them to the World Series. Bill, and then a couple big time ones, right? Bobby Thompson shot heard around the world, and then Bill.
Those are just. I didn't put anyone that old. I wasn't even.
Yeah,
if I wasn't alive or was aware of it, so.
I wasn't. I'm aware of them. I wasn't alive, but I'm aware of them.
Yeah, I've heard of them, but I didn't play anything on any of them.
Walk-off grand slam to win the World Series. So yeah. All right. So from the ones we have, let's rank them.
Well, I'm going Joe Oliver knocking Billy Bates in.
All right, I'll take that one. I will take that.
That's my number one.
That's number one. That's number one.
That's the one I care about the most. So.
That's right. Well, I would have had Eric Davis hitting the home run in the first inning, but that
was the one an ender though.
It was not an ender. Yes, and Nucks all going nuts. I wish I had the recording because we'd play that. All right, number 2.
I'd say either the Kirk Gibson one or the Bill Buckner one. They're both famous. They play them all the time.
Yeah.
Bill Buckner's is a little more out of the ordinary. How many times, to end the World Series game, they have an error like that.
So. Right. That was Game 6. Yeah,
right.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of these happen in Game 6. That's the irony of it, right? Like Fisk's home runs, Game 6. Buckner, Game 6.
Yeah.
Kirby Puckett was Game 6.
Joe Carter's was Game 6, I think, wasn't it?
I think it was Game 7.
Was his Game 7?
Yeah, I think that's why. I think it was Game 7. I think they said that. I don't think there's ever been a walk-off home run to win a Game 7.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. So let's go.
Well, whatever you want to go with at this point. So
let's go with Billy Buckner. Let's add.
No, it was Game 6. Joe Carter's was Game 6.
Joe Carter was Game 6. Okay, so
yeah.
So Game 6. There's a lot of Game 6's heroics. So either Gibson or Buckner. Who do you want to go with?
No, I'd go with Gibson. That's my vote.
All right. I like Gibson. So that was my number 1 just because I was watching it. The people I was watching it were A's fans, and I just loved it that the Dodgers beat them. And then number 3 has to be Bill Buckner then, right?
Yeah.
That's 86. Calvin Schiraldi. So... All right. And now this one was hard for me. Wild card.
It was hard for me because most of them I don't care about. So I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm being honest. I don't care about golf. You guys do. So you probably put a bunch of golf things, but I don't care at all about golf. So, and I don't care about auto racing. I don't care, all those other sports. So really the only ones that I cared about were soccer and maybe a little bit of boxing.
Oh.
So I have a soccer one as my number 1.
All right, what's yours number 1?
When Landon Donovan scored in the 2010 World Cup, put the U.S. into the quarterfinals. So scored in the last injury time. So late, it wasn't literally the last play of the game, but it was close, the last couple minute or so of the game.
Sam?
Mine's actually the Olympics. The what was it? 08. The relay, I can't remember what relay it was, where they won by like 0.001 seconds. The U.S. did.
The swim team?
Yeah.
The swimming relay? Oh yeah, that was a good one. That actually was.
I can't remember what relay that was, but
it was the medley, where they each.
Yeah.
Or no, maybe it was just a freestyle. Maybe they each. I think they did just swim the freestyle. So they each did a up and down the pool. So whatever that is, 4x100 maybe 4x100 freestyle. That was a good one. I do remember that one now.
Yep. Well, this one was more, like you said, the whole game. And this was one of the greatest moments that we had in sports history. It was Olympics, and I had to put Miracle on Ice. I mean, to me, it was just, I mean, even though they didn't win on a last second shot, but they did hold off the Russians on a couple of attempts. Jim Craig there towards the end, and do you believe in miracles? So. Any more?
I really only came up with one from wild card I just did. Top one.
Nice. Raleigh, what about you? You got any more?
The only one that I thought of, and I just saw it because it was on several lists too, was Tyson taking a big chomp out of Holyfield's ear.
Oh yeah.
Which ended that match obviously, and then also kind of ended Tyson's career until he's supposed to fight Jake Paul or whoever he's fighting coming up or whatever.
But no, that got
as
canceled.
a 60-year-old or whatever he is.
They got canceled because he had to have surgery or something. So.
Right, exactly, because he's too old. So that was the other one.
I'm surprised you didn't put Buster Douglas knocking him out. So.
There's probably some other, now that Sam said that Olympic one, I'm sure there's some other ones. There's got to be some good track and field finishes too. But I like that swimming one. That would be now that one. I would say that's my number one of the.
Yeah. So a couple I had was the Kerry Strug Olympic vault, right, to win the gold on a broken leg.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I had that one as an Olympic. Just recently here, the Kentucky Derby, right? Mystic Dan winning by what? A nose. I mean, that was pretty good. And then I had a Furman Aladar. The 78 Belmont was a nose. Payne Stewart putt. You're talking about golf. Payne Stewart to win the U.S. Open, that 30-footer on hole 18 at Pinehurst, number 2. That's the statue that they have out there in front. And then the last one I had was Larry Mize chipping in the Masters to beat Craig Norman. So yeah. Where do you want to rank them?
I like the swimming one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember watching that, and that was crazy. I remember going crazy when that happened. And he had Michael Phelps in it, so it had star power.
Had Phelps and Bodie, didn't it? Or something. The other real good swimmer.
Yeah, I don't remember the other guys.
Kevin Bodie or something like that. I mean, or
what was that dude's name? I don't even remember his name.
Michael Bodie, or I don't know, but it was yeah.
Oh yeah, because it wasn't even Phelps that was anchoring. It was somebody else.
Right.
Just yeah.
All right, so that's one. What's two? I'm surprised you guys didn't put what's her name who ripped off her shirt, scored a World Cup goal.
Brandy Chastain.
Brandy Chastain,
yeah. So, you soccer guys, I thought maybe you'd.
Yeah, I don't. Soccer ones though they're weird. There's not a whole lot of great endings. There's very few where you score a goal right at the very end to win it.
Unless it's penalty kick
right, but penalty. I'm not putting penalty kicks in.
Well, the World Cup this past year, they had that one crazy ending.
Yeah, that one actually was a pretty good ending. Yeah, the final 10 minutes, there were 3 goals.
Minutes, yeah. All right, so what's number 2 on our list for a wild card? You want Donovan's World Cup goal?
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
All right, and then I guess number 3 would be Miracle on Ice. So,
yeah, that's good.
All right, there we go. All right, so let's recap real quick. For college football, we had Cal versus Stanford. The band is on the field as our number 1 best ending in college sports, and then Kick 6 was number 2, and then the BC Doug Flutie versus Hurricanes, number 3. Basketball, college and pros, NC State versus Houston, 5 slamma jamma. Got jammed on there. Lorenzo Charles dunking with 1 second left. And then Duke versus Kentucky. Grant Hill to Christian Laettner. Turn around at the free throw line. End it. And then Jordan versus fill in the blank for number 3. Then our baseball, we had Joe Oliver. We've got to stick with the Reds there. And then Kurt Gibson versus the A's, and then Billy Buckner, his heir. And then our wild card is the USA 2008 relay swim team, and then Donovan winning the World Cup for us, advancing there, and then the Miracle on Ice. So that is our greatest endings. Now there's a whole lot of endings that you may think is better. So let us know. Put your comments in on YouTube here if you're watching it live, or if you're going to just watch it, a couple of days later. Go ahead and just make a comment what you think is the greatest sports ending of all time in each of those categories. And if we like them, we'll read them on the air if we agree or not. But we'll do that for you. So next week, we've got a good show coming up. We're going to be starting our great debate bracket, and it's going to set up sort of like the March Madness bracket, and we're going to go all the way down to the Final Four. And each week we will take one of the regions, and then we'll go each round with that. And it'll take a few weeks to get through because we don't want to bore you to death. So we'll do the first round, then the round of 32, all that. But the categories will be Cincinnati for next week. And then the following weeks, we will do baseball, basketball, and football. And we're coming up with the great debate. And the premise of that is the host who picks the category, he will send out the questions ahead of time, and then the other two hosts will debate the question. And so for next week, Sam and Charlie will be debating the question, and I will determine who won and then who moves on in the winner's bracket. And then we'll go from there. So I think it'll be interesting to see what goes up against each other here in the Final Four. So with that, we appreciate you listening and also watching. Please do us a favor and like, and also hit that subscribe button. Get the notifications on, so anytime we drop a new episode, you will be notified that it's on. And you can find us on all your podcasting platforms at Cincy Sports Scene. And make sure, with Apple and Spotify, they changed the way that the downloads happen. So, make sure you are downloading that so that you get the latest and greatest from the Cincy Sports Scene crew. So with that, everybody have a wonderful rest of your week. Take care.
Take care, everyone.